Welcome, beloved, to the series Living the Tarot, where we are taking a look at the major arcana and how it relates to the hero's or the fool's journey. The fool starting off his journey at the number 0. We're now at the devil card, which is the number 15. Okay, and we'll take a look at last week we finished up with the temperance card. Now we're on to the devil card. And the Rider-Waite on the left, has the devil figure with the two individuals chained. But due to YouTube stuff, we will cover that up. And on the right, we have the Arcanum deck, was just like similar. Looks maybe a little more menacing. But this card is not a bad card, and it does get a bad rap. So we'll take a look at some different interpretations of the Fool's Journey, and then some interpretations on the interpretation of this card by different readers, and then maybe a little more notes from myself on where I stand with this card. So, okay, so this is a Capricorn energy. After the archetype of the Temperance card, the Fool, after a pause, tries to start moving forward again, only to realize that he is still shackled to his past, emotionally, physically, or even financially. This is limiting his expansion. So the devil has him focusing to look at what he is holding himself back in and resisting letting go of what no longer serves him. The devil card can appear now that the fool has everything he could need: health, peace of mind, and composure. The fool, however, still pursuing his desires for more, and he's coming face to face with this devil card. This card can represent the ignorance and hopelessness that resides within all of us at some level. The fool may be seduced by material distractions and become a slave to the grind. He doesn't even realize that he's become enslaved, but it begins to show itself as a undercurrent of despair and unhappiness in general, right? The fool finds himself trapped within a self-made fortress and can see no way out. The fool needs to open his eyes to the situation he is in and see if he is truly powerless. Once he realizes this, he can start making positive changes in his life to free himself from the shackles life has locked him in. Well, beloved, what do you think about that? Being chained maybe to the past or to your thinking. I know a lot of readers interpret this as straight up toxicity, toxic relationships, maybe thoughts and patterns, but there's more to it than that, and it is not just that. Um, Kim at Birth of Venus Tarot tends to say that this can also be about pleasure and your relationship to pleasure. So, what are your thoughts, beloved? I'm going to take a look at an interpretation of this from the Holistic Tarot, an integrative approach to using tarot for personal growth. And I do like Kim's interpretation because it does tend to give this just a negative connotation. If you were to listen to many readers who just say it's toxic, it's bad. Obviously, if this card comes up in a Capricorn reading, it's about standing in your power, but that doesn't mean that that's standing in a negative energy or a negative power to be standing in your power. Okay, so the devil card, it is earth energy, right? As is a Capricorn. It's about bondage, temptation, and seduction. So let's take a look at this interpretation to whether or not we like it, we agree with it. It gives us different perspective while we're meditating on this card for ourselves, right? Okay, the lovers depicted on the lovers card, which are the same as depicted here in the devil card, are chained by a horned beast with bat wings, the torso of a man and the legs of an animal. The lovers are shown with horns and a tail. The beast carries a torch, which he is pointed to the ground. It appears to be lighting the primordial man's tail on fire. Etched into the beast's right hand is the cross. An inverted white pentacle is at his crown. Everything behind the beast and lovers is black. Okay. Human nature prevails over spirituality. Conditions surrounding the seeker may cause limitations on capability, achievement, and personal growth. The Devil card is about bondage to the material and superficial, preference for an instant gratification over delayed gratification, and as a result, the seeker is bound to a less than ideal present physical condition. The card can indicate incarceration, hopelessness, or pessimism. It represents the temptation to choose the material over the spiritual. The seeker's soul is in effect chained down by his or her strong materialistic desires. Right? And we know that earth energy can be about material possessions as well, anything in the physical, including your body. The devil can also suggest addiction. It often appears in readings for alcoholics or those plagued by consumer debt. What are your thoughts on that, beloved? Do you feel that to be true? The theme of the devil is the worship of false idols. Thus, one reading of the card suggests that the seeker is being subjected to evil influences or the temptation to not be more dignified version of him or herself. The seeker must overcome this. The card is a warning that there are negative influences preventing the seeker from attaining his or her goals. The seeker must break free of this bondage. If the seeker is currently in a relationship, it could be an unhealthy one that is chaining him or her down. The card could also indicate perversity. This card suggests there are undesirable forces at play. The seeker must work even harder to overcome his or her inner demons. Note, however, the devil card does not necessarily mean the seeker is entirely to blame. The devil card tells of a much greater karmic forces influencing the decisions and actions of the seeker. While the seeker is not entirely innocent and contributed adversely to the situation, the greater culpability rests elsewhere. Hmm. The lovers in reverse is about the temptation to choose what is unethical over what is ethical, to veer from the seeker's own sense of right and wrong. The devil is about the temptation to indulge in what which is superficial and materialistic, to give in to addictions and seductions, to stimulate the physical senses and pleasures rather than pursue knowledge, understanding, or love. Right? Almost making it feel like pleasure is something wrong to behold. And many of us may be programmed to think that and believe that. Hmm. So the lovers is about one choice, and the devil card is about being led astray. The devil is also about related to antagonism and dogma, despotism and enslavement. Recall that in the Lover's card, the tree of life and the ascension towards God are symbolized by the burning tree with the 12 glowing flames behind the male figure. Here in the devil card, the flame imagery repeats itself with the beast causing the male figure's tail to catch fire. The female's figure tail bears fruit. The fruit on her tail is a reminder of why the pair of lovers are now here chained to the beast. If the lover presents a choice between virtue and desire, the devil presents the aftermath of having abandoned virtue and indulged in desire. Right? Maybe a balance is a different way of looking at that. The devil also indicates a seeker who views his or her world with extreme negativity, distrust, and faithlessness. The star reversed also suggests pessimism, but in the star reverse, the pessimism is a projected outlook toward the matter at hand, while the devil card, the seeker's pessimism is towards divinity and prospects of ascension. The star reversed is about believing that the seeker won't experience a positive outcome, while the devil is about believing that no positive outcome can possibly come from such a world. There is a streak of hatred and resentment in the negativity expressed in the devil, while the negativism in the star reversed is simply a frame of reference. The devil card may call to mind the Mara in Buddhism, the concept of demons tempting the Buddha away from achieving enlightenment. Mara embodies sin, unwholesome impulses, desires, and temptations away from a virtuous or a spiritual life. Mara, through the devil, also personifies the thirst for existence, the thirst for pleasure, the thirst for power, and sensual delights. The devil is not a literally beast or demon. The devil personifies human selfishness and indulging in that selfishness. When the devil card appears in a reading, it indicates the temptations and vice that manifest an obstacle obstructing the attainment of our higher goals. Which in thought we can bring down to maybe we need to challenge some of our limiting beliefs, our pasts, our traumas that keep us from believing the best about ourselves. The element of earth governs this card. Attributions associated with earth will represent the external forces at play in the seeker situation. It might also be significant to note that as the Buddha resisted the temptation of the Mara, the Buddha reached down his right hand to touch the earth and asked the earth to bear witness to the Buddha's defeat of the Mara, the defeat of his or her own demons. Here in the devil card, the energy, yin energy is dominant. The devil could also relate to the sign of Capricorn, which we know. The imagery of the card is speculated to have been inspired by Baphomet, a horned idol purportedly worshipped by the Knights Templar, leading to the persecution during the Inquisition. That was a harrowing time, to be sure. So we did discuss what this card can mean if it comes up in a relationship, right? Might that you're chained to somebody toxic, perhaps even narcissistic. We hear this a lot, right? And again, please remember, if you are not used to tarot, that there is no really good or bad card, right? But this is about you building a relationship with this card and how it represents in your life. Because it will be different reader to reader and reading to reading. But just to dive a little more into that, if this card does appear in a love reading or resonates for you in a love manner, can be about materialistic love, bondage to this love that is not healthy for the seeker, addictions and temptations, toxicity. There can be pessimism, even greater willpower, or to exert greater willpower, virtue, and understandings to make the relationship work. So it's not saying it's over, it's all bad. If this card appears in a professional development reading, it can indicate pessimism is an issue. Negativity is holding the seeker back. Be wary of toxic work environment, right? But again, if you look at this card from a place of pessimism and toxicity, then it can bring awareness to you that you might need to bring love, light, and healing into the situation. But what are your thoughts on this card possibly being, are you taking enough pleasure for yourself, right? Are you being truly selfish? I mean, I would encourage you to definitely make sure you examine that for the best self awareness, for the most authentic you. But it could be indicating, are you allowing yourself to enjoy life at all, right? Do you have more time and capability to bring more joy and peace to that as this reflective card comes about? What are your thoughts, beloved? What are your experiences with this card? And how can some of these interpretations or thoughts maybe spin this in a better light for you so you can see the positive and maybe not be afraid of this card? Right? All right, beloved. I would love to know your thoughts on this, how you meditate on it, how this comes up for you, how you view this card, and how you might be challenged to think on this differently. So feel free to leave a comment for myself and for others on this journey. And yeah, so this will close out card 15, the Devil card, and I look forward to coming back with the next card in this series, card 16, and taking a little closer look at that. You're encouraged to meditate on this, to take a snapshot, put it on your altar, your phone, to really think about this and see how these energies can play out in your daily life. All right, beloved, I hope you have a fabulous day and stay grounded.